Hey guys, Chris here. How you going? Welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell to get more videos like this moving forward. And today's video is going to be about the band Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam are a band that have been around since the 1990s, and I remember hearing their debut single Alive on the radio back in 1991. I remember hearing it at school as well. All the cool kids were listening to Pearl Jam back then. It was a potent time in music because you had Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magik album that had come out. You had Nirvana's Nevermind that was out in 1991 as well. And also Pearl Jam's debut album 10 had hit the stores. So Pearl Jam were actually formed in 1990 when another band, Mother Love Bone, their singer Andrew Wood passed away, unfortunately. And their guitarist Stone Gossard and the bassist Jeff Ament sought to create another band. They then started jamming with another guitarist, Mike McCready, and started recording some demos. These demos then found their way to Eddie Vedder, who was a surfer and a singer in San Diego back then, through a mutual connection, Jack Irons, who was a drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Eddie recorded some vocals over those demos and they became the songs Alive, Once, and Footsteps. He sent those back to the band. The band was super impressed with Eddie's vocals. They then recruited a drummer called Dave Cruson, and that solidified the original lineup, which they went under the name Mookie Blaylock. Mookie Blaylock was a basketball player who played at the time. They eventually changed their name to Pearl Jam and released their debut album 10 in 1991. Not only did you have the song Alive on that album, but you had the song Even Flow, Jeremy, and the iconic song Black. In 1993, they followed up the album 10 with the album Verses, which was much more of a raw and emotional record, and probably my favourite album of theirs. To be honest, I love every song on that album. I don't think I skip one song. I would probably skip the song Blood, maybe, but every other song I love. And probably my favourite song on that album would be Dissident and Glorified G. In 1994, they released the album Vitalogy, and their sound started to change from there. If you were used to the more aggressive style of 10 and Verses, this was a more experimental album. Just take a listen to the song Bugs, for example. Kind of shows you that they're willing to take some risks here and be a little bit more experimental. 1996, you had the album No Code. A little bit more of a divergence from their original sound once again. I remember they released the song Hail Hail off that album as their single. But the album itself was a lot more introspective and a little bit more adventurous. 2 years later, you had the album Yield in 1998. They had a hit with the song Given to Fly on that album. I love that song. But once again, a much more introspective, philosophical sound. In the year 2000, you had the album Binaural. I remember the song Light Years on that album was a standout for me. I remember going to a Sanity store here in Australia and putting on those headphones. And I used to hear track 4, Light Years, and Light Years stood out for me. It also had the song Nothing As It Seems on there. A darker album, I would say. In 2002, they released the album Riot Act, recorded in the aftermath of 9/11. On there, you had songs such as Bush Leaguer and the single that they released to promote the album, which was called I Am Mine, which was a great song as well. In 2006, they released the album called Pearl Jam, which is also called the Avocado album. This particular album did not hit me at all. I just couldn't grasp onto any of the songs. It's probably my least favourite of all the albums. But in 2009, Pearl Jam released the album Backspacer, and to be honest, I rate this album as probably one of the best albums since Versus. The single they released off that was called The Fixer. You've got the songs Just Breathe, and there's so many great songs on that album. I remember having it in my car and having it on repeat, and just really enjoying the upbeat, melodic sound of that album. And in 2013, you had the album Lightning Bolt. The song Sirens was a great song, and also the song Mind Your Manners as well. Very punk inspired album. Just showed that Pearl Jam has still got it and they can still put out great albums. In 2020, they released the album Gigaton, once again experimenting with their sound a little bit there. Songs like Dance of the Clairvoyance, which was off that album, and a couple of other songs, they experiment with a little bit more of an electronic sound. Probably my second least favorite of the Pearl Jam albums. And in 2024, they've released the album Dark Matter. And I've got to say, I really enjoy this album. Love the opening track, Scared of Fear. I love the song Wreckage, and I love Waiting for Stevie, among other songs on the album. So have Pearl Jam lost it over the years? I don't think so. I think they've matured as a band, and they've refused to give in to the commercial success that they could have if they just replicated 10 and Verses over and over again. They wanted to experiment, and they've done that. I don't think they've drifted too far off the map that makes them inaccessible. And although they have experimented on a lot of their records, I've always found at least 1 or 2 or 3 tracks on that album that I can really get into and really relate to. They're on the road at the moment with their Dark Matter tour. If you haven't seen them live, I highly recommend it. One thing that stands out about their live show is they play so many different songs, city to city. It's not the same set list. They'll keep some of the classics in the set list and they'll keep some of the new songs, but everything else will change around a bit. So over the years of listening to Pearl Jam, I've got 5 songs which I would say are my top 5 right now. They might surprise you, they're not the obvious ones. First song I'd say is the song Dissident. Second song, Given to Fly. Third song, Amongst the Waves. And 4 and 5 are off the new album, the song Wreckage and the song Waiting for Stevie are both 2 really great tracks which are worth checking out. In terms of albums, I'd rate my top 5 albums like this. I'd go 5 to 1. Number 5, Riot Act. Number 4, Dark Matter. Number 3, Backspacer. Number 2, 10. And my absolute favourite album by Pearl Jam is the album Versus. So if you haven't checked out any of those, go check it out. But that's just what I think, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Are you a Pearl Jam fan? What are your favourite songs? Have you seen them live? Let me know what your thoughts are. And also, what albums do you think stand the test of time? Also, let me know your top 3 albums in the comments. Let's start the discussion. Thanks for sticking around, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.